All right. Hope you're all doing well. We're going to be in Daniel chapter 5 tonight. So go ahead and open your Bible up there. Actually, as you turn in your Bible, you can go ahead and turn there to the latter part of chapter 4, just to kind of reread those last few verses to get us into the context of where we're at. So we'll be actually pick up Daniel chapter 4, starting there in verse 34, and we'll just do a quick read of these last few verses to get us ready for chapter 5. The book of Daniel so far has been going, I guess, how y'all expected. Most of these are the narratives in the opening chapters. The opening chapters deal with Daniel and his friends and their interactions there in the land of Babylon. So far, we have been dealing with the Babylonians, the Chaldeans. We've been dealing with that specific nation. It will not be long as we get into the next chapter that you have a different nation that is ruling and leading amongst these people. But today is going to show us how this Babylonian people, how they change leadership, how one leader ends up being the final demise, or at least gets blamed for being leading the final demise for this specific grouping of people. And so we're going to learn a little bit about that. I love studying here in this particular time period because you get to go through and see all the different kings and leaders that have ruled. You get to compare biblical history versus world history, and a lot of it's going to match up, verbatim, word for word. And when world history gets it wrong, the Bible history gets it right. In the biblical history, the biblical timeline is actually proven time and time and again to be more accurate than some other historical documents as they have done further archaeology and further studies of different nations, that the Bible actually proves things to be more true than even some of the writers of antiquity. And so that's pretty interesting to watch. I love going through this particular time period. And then later on, I like going through the books of Ezra and Nehemiah as well, when you're going through the different rulers that led during that time period. And as some people will play guesswork at who was who and who led when, it's still fun to go through the timeline and look and see all these different leaders. It's kind of interesting when you're going through biblical history that you have this kind of, I guess, really focused lens on what's going on. We focus on one nation. But at the same time, all these things are going on in one particular nation. There are things going on in other parts of the world. And there are other leaders and there are other, wise men and people that are living. And you can go into and you can read about these people. You can read about people like Aristotle, and you can read about people, like all these Greek philosophers and leaders and stuff, and who they were, contemporaries with. And you can go in, you can kind of, and I just find that part of not only biblical history, but just history as a whole, very fascinating. And so at the end of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, we studied about last week that Nebuchadnezzar is basically going to go crazy. He is going to be punished by God, and God is going to send him out for this punishment of a time of humbling, a time to humble Nebuchadnezzar and to bring him back to seeing who was truly in charge. One of the phrases that you're going to see over and over again is that, God rules in the affairs of men, or God is the one that is in charge. And we need to understand that. We need to see that. Nebuchadnezzar need to see that. You go from chapter 1 all the way through chapter 4, and over again, Nebuchadnezzar has been shown, whether it was, Daniel and his friends and the foods in which they ate, or Daniel and them in the statues that were built, or in the bowing down or in the not bowing down, or in the prayer, and like we're going to get into just various different things that Nebuchadnezzar, he sees God's with these people. God's with Daniel. He's with his friends. Daniel's able to interpret dreams now twice, at least now, but multiple times for Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar has seen it, but then every time he sees it, he turns around and does something that just makes you think, what in the world is he thinking? Why is he going down this particular path? Nebuchadnezzar needed to be humbled, and God was going to do that for him. And God, punished him in this way. And so